Comedy Film Nerds Podcast.
So let's talk about Thor Ragnarok. So,
Did anyone here see it in 3D?
I did not.
I didn't see it in 3D.
Neither did I.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say about this movie is that when Marvel set up these films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they had kind of different genres that they had set up. Whereas, like, Captain America was kind of like a thriller spy movie, whereas Spider-Man was always kind of like a fun, young, lighthearted movie, whereas the Thor movies were almost like Lord of the Rings. That's the genre that they put them in because you've got elves and frost giants, and occasionally they throw in like a spaceship and more superheroes. But those were always they had that medieval bent to it, whereas this movie threw all that away and went Guardians of the Galaxy, which was really fun, and it just kind of breathed new life into like the Thor movies, which was I thought really fun and cool. So I like the movie.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, and Taika Waititi, who did
he's a comedy director.
Hunt for the Wilder People,
which is a great movie.
Which is a great movie, and also has it has a lot of heart. That movie. There's really good acting, and there's a lot of very heartfelt scenes. And this movie, Thor had a lot of comedy and a lot of it was the most comedic Thor has ever been.
For sure.
And which is why I think I liked it more than the other ones, because it wasn't as Lord of the Ringsy.
Right. I figured it would appeal to you for sure. It went Guardians for sure.
Yeah.
No, the amount of comedy throughout. I mean, you expected it with Taika Waititi.
Taika
Waititi. I mean, back in his days with Flight of the Conchords, he worked with them, and all. Obviously big.
What We Do in the Shadows, the
What We Do in the
vampire
Shadows. I knew coming in it was going to be funny, but the idea that he made it fit in this world, like, okay, we can have these deadly consequences and all this bad, this heavy stuff going on, and I don't want to. We can spoil or we can't spoil. What can we do on this?
No spoilers
big
on this
spoilers,
one.
But people dying. Potentially, but the realism of the situation, like that nervous laughter, that kind of stuff, the funny little situations, the awkward pauses, the awkward conversations between people battling each other, amazing. And then on top of that, you Goldblum it up,
right?
With Jeff Gold. I mean, like,
wow!
just absolutely silly.
Let him be as Goldbloomy as he can
right?
possibly
he
be.
Was, yeah.
Just so amazing. I mean,
it's like the comic book writers wrote 40 years ago. They wrote a Jeff Goldblum character.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, Jeff, we want you to be like bizarre, awkward, like weird, like say strange things, and like he was like, well, that's me.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do in every movie.
Yeah, he probably went to lunch, with the director, and the director's like, "This character you're doing, I love it." And he's like, "Oh, this is how I."
I haven't even started the character yet.
Yes.
I'm eating. I
just
ordered a
rehearsal.
salad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He is. I'm sure they saved a lot of money on the guy who usually wrangles Jeff in a little bit. Like who has to pull him back. They were just like, no, we don't need you for this movie.
Yeah.
We'll just let Jeff be Jeff.
Yeah,
but he was
B. Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park,
right.
And then times 100.
And then turn it
and the
up a
guy
couple
from The
notches.
Fly,
and
Brundle
right.
after a couple.
Yeah, and you get to run a planet.
Right?
He was a teacher. I studied at Playhouse West in the Valley.
Did you?
Yeah, a million years ago.
With Seth Romatelli? No, he's also a podcaster, but he worked there as well. But I know Jeff. He taught.
Yeah,
Jeff
he taught there. So
yeah.
I had a couple classes with him, and he's. Well, and he's doing his thing like after a scene. Let's break it down. Like that's who he is, and anyone's ever spent time around him, anyone that ever had one of his classes, I was mesmerized by what he was doing.
The idea of actually communicating with somebody like that on a daily basis, like that would be a weird guy. You would like,
right?
Are we inviting Jeff to the Christmas party? Oh, you know how Jeff can be at a party. But
let's just cast him in this.
Let's just cast him.
But I don't know if we need him at the party.
Yeah. Or make them sell apartments online or whatever. for some weird apartments. Like, what is that? Another one that they
some
just...
science fiction apartment app?
Yeah,
like,
what?
And it's one of the trivia points was that 80% of the dialogue in the film was improvised in order to create a very loose and collaborative mood among the cast. You could tell there was definitely some improvisation on the lines.
And I think that...
I don't know about 80%.
80% seems high.
Yeah.
But it's like I got that same sense, and that is, first of all, a credit to the director
Right.
And then obviously these are all skilled actors. Most of these actors have been playing these characters for a while, or they're
Yes.
just like
They know them inside and
they
out.
know them inside and out. So, and then you've got great rapport between Mark Ruffalo and Chris Hemsworth. You know, when that scene where he comes out of Hulk and he's David Banner.
Yeah.
That was hilarious, you
Right,
know.
right.
And there's a lot of that.
If they don't have those characters down by now,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many
Right.
movies has it been?
They've been
They got
contracted
it.
for at least
Yeah.
10, 12 years now. How long?
So it's and I think too, I'm sure those actors, I'm sure like Chris Hemsworth especially is like, can I riff some of my line? I don't need any more. I've had enough snarky action movie. This one's gonna hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
Like to be able to like throw some your own stuff in there and it was I really liked all that stuff.
It was good. It was like a nice departure, like because it could have gone off the rails, and you were like, "Yeah, it's not a Thor movie. It didn't fit," and all those things. But it did. Even with all the lighter moments in the comedy, it was still a Thor movie.
And Cate Blanchett was a great villain.
She was,
she
we
was
need
more
more
female villains like her.
Yeah,
just mean and cruel, like a solid villain.
and
Right,
she
but
never
with enough
phones it in.
Yeah, and just enough snark and funny too in there.
Right.
That was just so great. Man, I would.
And the thing of any good villain of that, they all have they were wronged and they have some misguided sense of entitlement. You know, she played that well.
And skin tight leather.
And skin tight leather and a crazy deer
Antler
head that
What
she
is
could
up
just.
with the helmet? Yeah, that was
That apparently was her battle
just
helmet.
the battle
like-
helmet.
Yeah,
Just
like,
it's imposing. Yeah, it's intimidating. I don't want to.
Whenever that thing would pop up, it's like, well,
all right, she's gonna take care of some
someone's
business.
gonna die.
Right. My wife wears that to bed. It's
Yeah.
just really, starts things off really nice.
Yep.
Just pops in. I mean, eyes get poked out, but still,
Whatever works.
it's not bad. But no, she was amazing, and I did like the. Well, see, again, I'm treading on thin ice here. I feel like I'm spoiling things, but the reveal of the history of Asgard,
Right.
Like the idea
That was interesting.
that was really great. Like that she was. She was just a problem. She was like, a crazy kid, just a bad egg, and then just got worse and worse. And like, whoa, okay. I thought you just had a passing fancy with
It's
this.
like, well, wait, we
killing.
used you as as the executioner, and now now you're executing too much. Now we need to deal with you.
And also, too, it was really cool because I was wondering, like, how much of this, the Loki Thor, are we going to still just these two brothers bitching at each other?
With the father in the middle.
The father in the middle. That got really interesting. Got really interesting. So.
And also, it's true to the books where, Loki is the trickster. There's always going to be that kind of back and forth of like, can you trust him? Can you not trust him? Is he going to betray you? Is he not going to betray you?
Can you out-trick him?
Can you out-trick him? Yeah, exactly. So there were certainly no surprises there, which was good. I mean, the whole thing with the movie itself, like there weren't any like crazy like big reveal surprises as far as like story or plot went.
Right.
Like it was pretty by the numbers, but that's not what this movie ran on. This movie ran on charm. And it really was just charming from start to finish, where it was funny, it was fun, it was lighter than the other Thor movies, and it was a good direction to go. And it's interesting, like, remember the third Iron Man movie actually went in a darker direction,
Right.
And whereas this one went in a lighter one. But I think these choices need to be made for these movies, because if you're going to keep making them, they can't be the same over and over again.
Yeah, I think with the amount of these superhero movies that have been coming out, like the idea of like, well, the world's going to end and these guys are going to save it, and that's just going to be it. Let's see how much we can do with CG and whatever to make a building or a planet get destroyed. I mean, it's only so far you can go. So that's my weariness with this whole genre. Is like, okay, these are the stakes. These guys are gonna come in. They're gonna pull apart. They're gonna come back together. They're gonna save the world. And like, how much can we really deal with that? But this being so light throughout, it didn't even make that. That wasn't even the point. It seemed just like a comedy. It was just like, here's a comedy, but the structure is that they're saving the world.
Like a comedy. It's like, oh, we got to save this teen
Asgard.
center or
Right.
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Could have been whatever.
Like,
Asgard could have been, Could have been 48 Hours. It could have been whatever. I
Right.
said older.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Caddyshack. We gotta,
Caddyshack,
say,
yeah.
we gotta.
We got to save the golf course. No, the golf course was Asgard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
There you go. That's a good analogy.
And it was being besieged by gophers. What are you
Right.
going to do?
What are you gonna do?
But I did, speaking of surprises, and I don't know if you want to get into this later, but I feel like if I'm going to pick nits with anything, did we have to show Hulk in the trailers? Like, I feel like that blew a major part of the... And I know this is stuff that happens in movies all the time.
You know, I was reading a little bit about that, too, and one of the things, obviously, when the marketing department gets a hold of the trailers is you kind of had to, because one of the complaints that people were giving Marvel when it was a non-Avengers movie,
Right.
like when it was like Iron Man or Thor or Spider-Man, they would always ask, well, where are the other characters? So... this was like a nod to like, all right, look, see, it's a Thor movie, but you'll still get the Hulk. And I think it was one of those things where marketing just took over. Look, this is not up for debate. Hulk is in the trail.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think because I overall I would sort of tend to agree with you, Kurt. Of like, oh, I wish I would have been surprised by
Yeah.
Hulk. But I got to tell you, when I saw the first trailer, I was like, with Hulk in it, I was like, yes.
In. Right.
Yes.
No, I get it. Yeah,
You know?
I thought so too. Like, but that's the whole reveal in the movie. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything there because you see
No.
it. Like, that door opens. You're like, oh, that's all I could think about during that scene. Like, man, if this scene came up and I was totally unaware, how fucking amazing.
yeah.
The
Right.
audience would have erupted to
would
see Hulk come out in gladiator gear.
And go, he's
And-
a friend from work.
He's a friend
Yeah.
from work, whatever. But I mean, I get it too. You also need to have Ruffalo there on the press tour and all that stuff. But I also then thought, like, was this because Dark World, the last Thor movie, not so great, not so well received? I don't know how you guys felt about it, but that they needed
I liked
to,
it
like,
because I like the Lord of the Rings movies,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what they were going for. But at the same time, none of these movies do poorly.
No, none
so
of them,
they're
yeah.
they just kind of judge them
You think
like
they make
against
their
the
money
Avengers.
back?
Yeah, maybe,
You think they do?
They might do okay.
Okay.
I
I don't know. I don't see him in enough cereal boxes.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
see them
like-
on everything.
see
Yeah,
everything.
and Disney knows nothing about marketing.
No.
So now, what I didn't realize is that this was the first time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Lou Ferrigno did not voice the Hulk. Mark Ruffalo voiced the Hulk instead. Ferrigno voiced the Hulk in The Incredible Hulk, The Avengers, and Avengers Age of Ultron, which I didn't realize.
I didn't realize that. Well, is that mainly because Hulk actually had to have dialogue this time?
Could be.
Yeah, I think so. And there was a lot of, and the Banner Hulk dynamic was pretty played up in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think then up close, and then the way they've CG'd the Mark Ruffalo Hulk kind of looks like Mark
Looks like
Ruffalo.
Ruffalo, yeah.
it does.
You know, it looks like
does.
a big giant green Mark Ruffalo, so it makes sense that they would sort of have to use his. I understand both ways of like, well, first give a nod to Lou Ferrigno, which is cool, but also, the Hulk should have a completely different voice. But in this way, and it made sense to me to have him sort of talk a little Ruffalo.
Because Banner's inside.
Yeah, because Banner's inside, and that's part of this thing too. And I won't go into more in the spoiler episode, but like there's an issue of Hulk and how long he's been Hulk and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the things too, I'll give a nod to the effects team. You know, if you look at the Hulk from the original Avengers movie and the Hulk from this movie, better motion captured, more detail, and just was more realistic looking.
Is it
So
a spoiler
you
to
could tell.
say you get to see Hulk ass in this?
It's
a
not
spoiler?
spoiler. No,
That's not a spoiler?
You can go HA.
You little
That's fine.
HA in this.
A lot of these Marvel movies, I would make a point of seeing them like in big IMAX 3D, and I just couldn't get that scheduled. But that might have been cool, but I don't know. I felt like I had an amazing experience. I didn't see a lot of. There was only a handful of scenes where I went, "Oh, that'd be cool in 3D."
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much. I was just amazed at how many shots. And again, I think this speaks to the color and the like you said, the Guardians of the Galaxy of this film. Like how many shots would have been just amazing posters. Like the Valkyrie
Right.
fighting Hela, and then and like the shot of Hulk and Thor diving at each other. I mean, there was such beautiful, I don't know, would you call it cinematography? I mean, it's also put together with computers later on, but it's just gorgeous to look at. So with that,
that's interesting. It's like who gets credit for that? The visual effects guys or the cinematographer
Yeah,
for
right.
those shots.
You're a
because
team, I'm
they
sure.
work together on them.
Well, let's get back to the idea that 80% was improvised because
Yeah.
Marvel is such a protective.
Yeah.
I mean, they have such a story.
I think that's a one of those kind of like for the press release little marketing thing that they put in. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure there was some improvisation going on, but 80%.
80% was
Or
improvised.
they-
20% was used in the film.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I
Right?
think they let a lot of like they did 10 takes scripted and then said, all right, let's let a couple
let's
fly.
play.
Yeah.
The CG Hulk, really great improviser.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just so
That
solid.
computer, he knows.
Yeah, because you don't have to
yes,
make
ands
the,
like a motherfucker.
make the animation match the words
No,
at all,
you're
so
good.
that they can
Yeah.
improvise all day with a CG character.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember when they came out with the Marvel list when they said the Phase 1, Phase 2. Is this still Phase 2? I
No,
guess
we're in
of-
Phase 3.
Is this Phase 3? Okay, so we're almost near the end. I'm a
Yes.
little sad.
Yeah, but we'll there'll be a Phase 4.
They'll move on. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
they have to. But
They're not
Yeah.
going to end this.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Disney
the
likes
money
money.
train
This
keeps
had
coming in.
this had a $180 million budget, which compared to some of the Avengers movies is a little light. Some of those
That's
were
not
a
bad.
quarter of $1 billion.
Right.
So this is
So when you get a New Zealand director who's used to doing it on the cheap over there,
yeah, he can
yeah,
save
he
you
can
$70
save
million.
you- right? I mean, come on.
He can save you the cost of 10 $7 million movies.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, yes, Thor Ragnarok. See it, guys. Also, we are going to do a spoiler ep with Jackie Cation. That'll come out. So enjoy it.
Rod shot first. Kitten heads across the land.